The morning of the wedding smelled like gardenias and vengeance. Simone stood at the kitchen island in her silk robe, pretending to check the seating chart for the 9th time while the caterers fluttered around her like nervous birds. Her hands were steady now. They hadn't been for weeks. The Valium she'd taken at 5 a.m. had smoothed the edges just enough for her to smile at the florist, to nod at the photographer, to kiss her sister Aisha on both cheeks when she arrived at 7:30 with the manila envelope that would burn the entire day to the ground. Aisha didn't say much. She never had to. She just slid the envelope across the marble and murmured. Lab rushed it. 99.9997% match. It's him. Inside were 3 things. 1. A certified paternity report. 2. A photograph of 15-year-old Zoe Jenkins. Franklin's eyes, Franklin's mouth, Franklin's arrogant tilt of the chin. 3. A single white gardenia Zoe had asked Aisha to deliver to the bride from her new sister. Simone tucked the flower into the bouquet she would carry down the aisle as mother of the groom. It felt heavier than the rest. Upstairs, Elijah was dressing in the groom's suite. He looked impossibly calm in his charcoal Tom Ford tux, knotting his tie with the same precision he'd used to knot the noose over the last 6 weeks. When Simone slipped in to check on him, he didn't ask if she was ready. He simply said, "She's in the bridal suite. Dad's with her. They think I'm still at the barber." Simone's heart gave one hard knock against her ribs. Zoe. Already in the car with Aisha. She's wearing the pale blue dress we bought her. She looks excited. His mouth twisted. Poor kid thinks she's finally getting a dad on the day he loses everything else. Simone touched her son's cheek. "You sure you want her to see this?" "I want her to see exactly who he is before he has a chance to lie to her too." That was the moment the last softness in Simone died. 4:12 p.m. The string quartet began Pachelbel. 300 white chairs on the lawn were filled with Atlanta's old money, new money, and everyone who had ever wanted to say they were at an Ellington Harrington wedding. Madison appeared at the top of the aisle in a $10,000 imbil drawer gown that looked like liquid moonlight. Cameras flashed. Someone gasped audibly. She was breathtaking and she knew it. Her eyes found Franklin first. He stood at the foot of the stairs in his role as proud father of the groom, and the smile she gave him was small, secret, victorious. Simone watched her husband's face. The hunger in it made her want to vomit. The processional moved. Bridesmaids, groomsmen, flower girls, ring bearer. Then Elijah, walking alone because his father had insisted on greeting guests at the door. Simone took her seat in the front row, gardenia bouquet trembling only slightly in her lap. The officiant, a fashionable young pastor Madison had chosen because he looked good on Instagram, began. "Dearly beloved." Simone didn't hear the rest. She was counting heartbeats. When the pastor reached the part about holy matrimony being entered into reverently, the garden lights flickered once. Then again. A third time. The quartet stopped mid-note. Guests murmured. The massive projector screen that had been hidden behind the floral arch suddenly dropped with a mechanical whine. The lawn went dark except for the screen's cold white glow. Franklin's voice boomed first. Recorded 3 weeks earlier in the St. Regis penthouse suite. Madison, breathless. "Tell me again why we're waiting until after the wedding." Franklin, laughing. "Because I want to watch my son put the ring on your finger knowing the whole time that you'll be in my bed that night. It's poetic, baby." A collective inhale sharp enough to suck the oxygen from the lawn. The first image flashed up. Franklin and Madison, half-dressed, wrapped around each other in a hotel mirror selfie, timestamp 3:14 a.m. Gasps. Someone screamed. Madison went corpse white under her veil. She whipped toward Franklin, who had gone the color of old ash. Next slide, bank transfers. $9,400 to Cartier. $12,000 cash withdrawn every third Friday for 18 months. Hotel receipts. The St. Regis. The Whitley. The Four Seasons. The pastor tried to speak. This must be a mistake." Elijah stepped forward, remote in hand, voice calm as winter. "No mistake, Reverend. Keep watching." The screen shifted to Zoe. 15 years old. School photo first. Awkward smile braces Franklin's eyes. Then a side-by-side with Franklin at the same age. The resemblance was obscene. Text overlay in bold. Zoe Jenkins, daughter of Franklin Alexander Harrington, born March 12, 2010. Paternity probability 99.9997%. A new audio clip. Franklin on the phone with Nicole Jenkins, Zoe's mother, recorded by Aisha 2 days ago. Franklin: I'll increase the payments after the wedding. The boy's trust matures next year. I'll have more liquidity then. Nicole: worry, she's 15. Frank: she deserves to know you. Franklin: cold, she deserves the life I'm paying for. That's enough. The lawn was no longer a wedding. It was a crime scene. Madison's father, Judge Ellington, stood up slowly, face purple. Her mother had already fainted into the lap of the woman beside her. Simone rose from her chair. Every eye turned to her. She walked, not ran, walked, down the aisle runner until she stood 10 feet from the bridal party. She lifted the gardenia bouquet and spoke into the microphone the best man had abandoned. My husband, she said, voice clear, almost gentle, has something he'd like to say to his daughter. The side gate opened. Aisha walked through first, black suit, severe, badge still clipped to her belt out of habit. Behind her came Zoe, small, pale, clutching a gift bag with trembling fingers. She wore the ice blue silk dress Elijah had paid for. Her hair was in the same elegant twist the bridesmaids had. She looked like she belonged. Franklin made a choking sound. Zoe stopped 5 feet from him. She looked up, way up, into the face of the man who had paid for her braces, her summer camps, her mother's rent, but had never once held her hand. Hi, Daddy, she said, voice cracking like thin ice. Happy wedding day. Franklin opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Zoe turned to Madison, who was clutching her bouquet like a shield. You told my mom you were excited to be my stepmom, Zoe said, loud enough for the microphones to catch. You said we'd go shopping. You'd help me pick a prom dress. Her chin wobbled. Was that a lie too? Madison took 1 step back, heel catching in the grass. She went down hard, veil tangling, $10,000 gown ruined. Zoe faced the crowd. I didn't want to ruin anybody's day, she said. I just wanted a dad. Then she looked at Elijah, her half-brother, and he opened his arms. She ran to him. He caught her like he'd been waiting 15 years to do exactly that. The cameras never stopped. Every major network in Georgia was live-streaming. Someone had already tagged it #Harrington Wedding Massacre. Simone walked to Franklin last. She was close enough now that only he could hear. 25 years, she whispered. I gave you 25 years, 2 miscarriages, 1 perfect son, and every dream I ever had. And you gave me this. She reached up and unpinned the gardenia Zoe had sent. She tucked it into Franklin's lapel, right over his heart. Wear it, she said. It's from your daughter. Then she turned her back on him forever. Chaos followed, of course. Judge Ellington physically dragged Madison up the aisle by her arm, hissing, You have disgraced this family. Her mother was still unconscious. Franklin tried to run. 2 off-duty officers Aisha had hired for security blocked the gate. He was sobbing, actually sobbing, begging Elijah, begging Simone, begging Zoe. Elijah looked down at him from the altar, Zoe's hand tucked in his. You taught me everything I know about being a man, Elijah said. Thank you for the lesson. He turned to the pastor. You can pronounce us done now. The string quartet, God bless them, struck up Mendelssohn's Wedding March out of muscle memory. No one walked down the aisle. Instead, guests fled up it, desperate to escape the carnage. Simone stood alone in the center, gardenia petals scattering around her feet like snow. She felt lighter than she had in years. Epilogue 6 months later. The estate sold quickly. Too much bad juju, the realtor said. Simone moved into a loft in Midtown with floor-to-ceiling windows and a garden on the roof. She started a new firm, Second Act CPAs, specializing in forensic accounting for betrayed spouses. Business was booming. Elijah and Zoe spent every other weekend with her. They called her Mimi now. Zoe had started therapy and was learning she was allowed to be angry. Elijah had deferred law school and was helping Simone build the practice. They were a team again. Franklin lived in a 1-bedroom extended stay off Peachtree. Child support for Zoe took half his salary. The other half went to alimony. His former firm settled the embezzlement case quietly, after he returned the $1.4 million he'd siphoned over the years. Madison's parents cut her off completely. Last anyone heard, she was living in Charleston with an aunt working retail, and had changed her last name. The video of the wedding lived forever online. 187 million views and counting. Every year on March 12th, Zoe's birthday, Simone, Elijah, and Zoe released 16 gardenias into the Chattahoochee River. One for each year Franklin had missed. They never spoke his name anymore. They didn't need to. The gardenias said everything. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe this channel and bless the bell icon. Thank you so much. Please share this video friends and family members. Thank you.